I'm going to show you one more application where you may see issues in less than 500 users. Okay, that one is this. Okay, for those people who are not familiar with Open Mentor or first time visitors to Open Mentor, I would like to show you this thing. Okay, you can go to openmentor.net. Okay, and you can attend a lot of webinars like this. Free webinars are also there, and recorded webinars which are also free, that's also there. You can visit this portal. Pretty soon this portal will be revamped. Okay, so you can view a lot of recorded training things over here. Okay, it has got concepts like domains like CRM, point of sale, ERP, etc. Development tools like C, C#, etc., VB.NET, databases like Oracle, MySQL, etc. And recently we have uploaded these white box web service and security testing. This is one part. Okay, now there is another site you can visit. This is our product, freeqamonitor.com. This freeqamonitor.com, right, is QA Monitor is a product of SoftSmith which is meant for defect tracking, entire test management, end-to-end test management. So this free QA Monitor site you can visit, you can register there, you can see the demos, you can visit, you can use this. If you are an organization less than 25 members or even 100 members, you can use it for free. And if you want to use it on cloud, it's again available at a very affordable price that you can see. What we have done is we have a sample QA Monitor application, right? This is one of the applications where I'll show you. Okay, we are going to load test again. This is one of the builds that we have got internally. We purposefully made it with one person has asked, is it like QC? Yes, it has got features of QC and more than QC. So you could see requirements, test planning, test results, issues, bug tracking, and you have got integrated task management also. Okay, then you can have a lot of charts. For example, I go to this charts page. I want to get a set of charts based on severity, right? It generates charts. Right now it has got 4,231 defects plus 4,233 defects. You can get charts. This is one of the builds that we have internally deployed in a machine, in a 4 GB Linux machine. We purposefully made it to work slower so that I can demonstrate to you with problems. The production version will have seamless integration, but this version for demonstration we have introduced with some bugs. Now what I'm going to do is we have created scripts for adding defects. For example, if I go to this and then I want to add a defect, you can enter as a user, you can click add a defect details. It will open up a screen, then you can have issue, title, description, status, priority, severity, etc. exactly like a bug tracking system, and you can save. To make sure that people understand, we have generated a random number automatically in our script so that it gives different issue titles. What we are going to do is we have created a test script for this to add defects, and we want to run it for X number of users, right? Let us do the same exercise over here, right? Now I want to run a constant load of 20 users, right? Okay, now I have to click this one. Okay, I'm using only the defect add. 10 users, running only one iteration, right? I want to run this, see whether the defects are getting added. That means all the users will hit the system. If one person has asked, show me the scripts, okay? I'm going to show you the script, the sequence of the script. This is open the URL, right? Then login, submit, click the issues, add the issues, log out, okay? So this is typically like you can see, right? Again, this has HTML requests, right? So it has got internally all the requests recorded. Now the sequence of this one is go to the URL, login, click on add new issue, add the details, then log out. Now what we want to do is 10 users doing the same thing. Can we do that, right? We are hitting the server with 10 users, right? Now, in fact, one user, one of the attendees has requested, do we do monitoring also? Yes. Once I finish this small run, I will start using monitors also. Then you can see how the CPU increase everything, right? Now, let me run this. This is going to, previously what you saw is JPET store application. This one is an enterprise application like bug tracking, full-fledged with a lot of jazzy UI, right? Now if you look at 50 users are hit, 10 users are hitting. Just one iteration, and it's going up, and then usually it should come down pretty soon. Let it finish the run. Occasionally you could see pause from me because I'm just watching for the run to finish. You can initially see the response time was higher, maybe up to 1 second. Later on it has come down below 1 second. Usually at 10 users you may not see any issues. Once you start increasing the number of users, that is where you will see the problems cropping up. So now you could see hits are increasing because we are traversing through home page, defects page, add defects page, logout page. So you could see maybe with 10 seconds or 20 seconds gap, you could see the hits are going up because more users are hitting on those pages. Okay. One of the persons has asked the question, do we have options like init, action, end, etc. in load runner? Yes, if you look at, there is a, I have shown you the tree, right? Go to URL, you can group them into multiple containers. So you can group the requests into multiple containers in neoload. Yes, that is pretty much available. I think the iteration should be finishing now. That means 10 users, if they want to log the results, it will take through this much time to come out, but the individual response time is slightly less. Initially it was high, now it has come down. Let us finish for that. Now I come back to this results issues page, to the actual application, right? Now let me go back here. Right now it shows around how many defects, right? Displaying 1 to 20 of 20 pages. Now let me I go back and then come back, see whether it refreshes the page. Now if you look at the titles have changed, right? Previously it was at this page around this time. Now it has taken this, it has got more records into it, right? So that means it has added some data. One thing that you need to verify in your system is whether the data is really added, right? Okay. Now, let me come back to this application. Now if you look at this, this is the sample report. Now it was giving, when 10 users hit, on an average it was giving 2.28 seconds, maximum 4 seconds. There was no errors. That's a good display, right? There are two pages, JSP and JSP_1. 2 times it was happening, right? The same page, it was hitting that twice, once before and after adding the defect. So there is a slight variation in the response time of the same page. Now, exactly what we did before. I'm going to now increase the number of users. Okay. Before increasing the number of users, this time I'm going to show you how to monitor. There is something called monitoring. When I say monitoring, right, you need to do, for example, this is another important thing that you need to understand, monitoring resources. When you say monitoring resources, CPU, memory, right, network, disk. We need to monitor all these things in any machine, in any server. If you use many servers, okay, like web server, app server, database server, each server must be monitored. Each server must be monitored. One of the standard ways of monitoring is you go here to the task manager. If you click on the perfmon, this is giving you a simple visual thing. But Microsoft also has a product called the perfmon, P-E-R-F-M-O-N, right? Microsoft perfmon. This is a performance monitor inbuilt in Windows. Either you can use that, or Neoload provides monitors that we have configured over here. Okay. What we do is, right, in monitor you can monitor many things. What I want to do is, this is a Linux system, so we are connecting to that 192.168.1.15. That's a server where our dummy product has been, the test product has been installed. There we are monitoring system. Okay. For example, whether you want to monitor CPU of the user, idle time of the CPU, right? Same way, if you want to monitor memory, right? Right? Sorry, someone has disconnected the remote desktop. So you can monitor memory, same way you can monitor the network. Same way, this application has Tomcat, MySQL, etc. Okay. So you can monitor those things, right? And that is exactly what we are going to do now. I think when we are doing something over here, some other user disconnected the remote desktop. We will reconnect it back. We will start the monitor. So this is important rule, right? Before starting the test, just before starting the test, start monitoring, right? Run the test, close monitoring. Then you get system resource graphs. System resource graphs are like detailed health test, like blood test, thyroid test, weight, right? All those things, ECG, X-ray, whatnot. It is about internals about your body. So monitor is like internal thing. So we will connect to this. Okay. Once it connects, okay. This is the Neoload monitor. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm starting monitoring this system, right? Come to this runtime. Okay. I'm going to run it for up to, say, next 5 minutes. Let me run it for next 5 minutes, right? Now this is just I'll run monitoring. I'm running in separately. Now let the monitor start. Okay, this will start monitoring. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm coming back to our Neoload server where I'm going to actually run this test. Okay, this defect addition, I'm going to ramp up 10 users, increment by 10 users every 15 seconds. Maximum number of users is like say 200, right? And I will run it for 4 minutes. Okay. But the problem is I configured for 200 users, but based on the ramp up plan it says you can reach only up to 160 users in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So I need to increase the duration. Let me run it for 5 minutes. Once I say in 4 minutes and 45 seconds I will reach 200 users. Maybe I will increase it to 6 minutes. Anyway, we are monitoring that. Now let me run it out. This means that server is going to be hit exactly by the way what we have done for JPEG store, but this time the application is different. Now previously you have already seen the users are increasing, hits are increasing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that monitor screen, right? Here there is something called runtime graphs, right? There is a monitor, right? In this monitor, watch this, there are multiple graphs. When this run is going on, you are going to see the system, memory, everything, right? So what you can do is, suppose I can drag and drop this into this graph, it will show you that, okay? For example, show me the CPU, right? I put over here. Look at this. It is showing you the graph. It is almost like only maybe 5% utilized, right? The scale is only maybe very less utilized in terms of the CPU at this point of time, but now the users will keep on increasing. That time you could see it is also increasing. Okay. Now I want to see the memory used, right? I can just drag and drop that one. You could see the memory used. So this means 750 megabytes are almost used, right? Almost 875 is used. When users increasing, right, you could see memory used also being slightly increasing. Now you could see it here. CPU was initially low. Number of users increased. CPU also increased to 25%. This is exactly the monitoring part of it, right? So what you are seeing is we are monitoring the Linux machine on which the system has been installed. CPU, how it is being used. Now it is 28% utilized. Memory is now almost like 900 megabytes. Previously it was just 1 minute before, or maybe 30 seconds before, it was showing 285 or say 835. Now it is showing 908. When users are increasing, you could see this also increasing, right? So now you need to continuously start monitoring it for the whole run. So you are running scripts in one side. You are monitoring CPU and memory on the other side. Of course, we are monitoring the Tomcat web server also, right? Tomcat web server is there. So we are monitoring the Tomcat web server, right? These are all the Tomcat details. Now in Tomcat, how many hits are coming, right? Everything is shown over here. People who are familiar with web servers, they may understand what this means, right? But the thing is, if you do not understand some of the basic principles of web servers, it is very difficult for me to explain even all those things in this thing. But at least you can definitely understand. Look at these two graphs. This is pretty important. When users increase, CPU also going up. When users increase, memory is also going up, right? This is a typical thing that we are looking at. Now I am coming back to my original system where I am running the neoload, right? 125 users are going up, right? You could see system is not throwing any errors, right? 150 users are getting in. I think we have configured around how many users we configured? Totally 200, right? So let us see. Hits are increasing. Response time was not increasing a large extent, but still, most importantly, what definitely you need to do is you need to monitor users increasing, hits increasing, right? How the CPU and the memory they are behaving, right? For that, all you need to do is you need to have a monitor also running, right? You need to have monitors also running, right? Now, okay, so it has been running and it has given you the graphs, right? I think this is one of the previous graphs, I suppose. This is 3rd November right now, right? I think the run has finished because we configured it to run for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. If you look here, he has given you the graph for the QA monitor server. Okay, so I will say go to this one, drag and drop over here. Okay, so it will show you that CPU user, right? Still it is up to 5 minutes we monitored, right? It is monitoring initially. Look at only this graph, okay? Only this graph. Initially its CPU was less, now it is increasing, right? It has gone up to this point. Maybe at some point of time 80% it was consumed. What does that mean? Okay, in fact one of the users has asked me a very good question, right? How do you club these two? That's a very, very important question. Okay, the very important question is, how do you club view-user details, response time details, hits details, right? And then the monitored graphs. Only way is graphs. You have to take, it's like, imagine that you are going to a surgeon, right? I don't want anybody to get sick, but I'm just saying. Someone is sick, they want to get some diagnosis of something. First thing, you go to the lab, right? Please understand this concept. Many times people fail to understand this particular thing. Okay, I'll come to this thing a little bit later. Imagine someone needs medical diagnosis. Okay, first get the test done, right? Even before that, get the list of tests to be done. This is very important. If you do not know what test to be done, whether I should test that chest X-ray or should I take joint X-ray, you need to know that first. That means test planning, performance test planning. Second thing, get the test done. So you go to the lab, get the X-ray or blood test or ECG or scan, whatever. Then take all those results, right? Go to the expert. The expert always collates multiple reports and arrives at conclusion. Just by seeing the BP alone, one cannot come to a conclusion. Just by seeing thyroid rating alone, one cannot come to a conclusion. They need to see a variety of details and then come to a conclusion. In this, what you need to do is, of course, view-users, right? Ramp up pattern. You have a graph, right? And then hits graph, throughput graph, then CPU graph, memory graph, Tomcat graphs, maybe web server graphs, database graphs. In each of this, for example, in memory, or say for example, in database, what should I check? There are many things. There are many reference sites. You can do that. For example, in blood test, what should I look for? Right? Because blood is an entity. Within that, somebody will say cholesterol, LDL, right? Something like that. In blood, BP. So within blood, you need to get these two. Same way, under database, somebody will say it's like a software doctor, right? The software doctor will say in database, look for logs. look for IO queues, right? So people will show these are all the details I want from that. These are all like very specific elements within this. In memory, what do you do? In memory, you will say what is the swap, then what is the used memory. This is like memory is like blood. These two are like very specific tests within the blood. This database is like X-ray. Within X-ray, this is very specific for which part, right? Same way, in fact, I appreciate the user, say the attendee who asked this question. You cannot conclude just by taking one thing. You need to take multiple graphs and then do it. For example, if I go to this neoload run now, I'm coming to this result summary. Okay. One person has asked, can we monitor IIS? Yes, any web server. That is Tomcat or IIS or JBoss, you can still monitor. What is throughput? Throughput is the bytes, list of number of bytes server sent to you. That's a throughput, the pumping capacity of the. Someone has said, is it same like WAPT software, WAPT? Yes, any load testing tool, they are all of the same category, but which one is easy to use, which one is giving better graphs, that's basically the usability of it determines your choice of the tool, right? Someone is asking, why don't we use freeware software? One of the important things that we have realized over a period of time, right? Free is there, but when you spend X amount of time to use a free software, you will spend only 10 times less than that effort in a commercial software like this. So initially we were also using some of the open source tools, but things are getting complex. Ajax controls, right? New browsers. Will I be in a position to record in IE8 using this tool? Many tools, open source tools, do not support that. And putting all this information like collating, getting a final report like this, I can export this to PDF. That is not available in many to most of the open source tools. It is better to go for a commercial tool. That's what we have done. Okay. Someone has asked what is the difference between web server and app server. Typically, which one is hosting the IIS or Tomcat? That's a web server. Wherever the business logic is run, right? Someone is saying, look like this tool is very user friendly. Yes. As I said, Softsmith is a certified partner of Neoload. This is very user friendly. After careful examination of so many tools, we have zeroed in on this tool. Okay, let us come back here for the analysis, quick analysis. Look at this. When we ran X number of users, 200 users, we got average response time 3.2 seconds, max response time 11.5 seconds. Okay, it ran so many times. Now we have got all this information. There was no errors. Now, as I said, most importantly, look at this. This defect is 778. It ends with 739. Now, let me go back to another project and then come back. It will refresh the. Right. Now, if you look at this one, the IDs have changed, right? So you could see 4450. Those many defects have been added to this particular project, right? So you will see a variety of data added. To be very precise, let me go back to the charts. Okay, defects, status. Look at this, 4451, right? Initially it was less. Now we have added 4451 totally, right? So it has added, right? Now this is exactly what you need to do. Is the reason why you need to come back to this product and then check whether it is doing or not. If it works, but if it doesn't add to the database into the application, that means something wrong in the application, right? Now let me go back to this tool once again, right? If I go here, right, for pages, look at this. Someone has asked the question, will it give response time for every page within the elements of that page? Yes, definitely. For example, there is a login page. Within that, there are multiple requests. Login session, layout.jsp, .gif, some service details, right? This is the page. This is the container. Within the container, right, you have got multiple pages and service calls. for everything, including a GIF file, including the JSP, right, including the service calls. This tool is giving a lot of min, max, average time. So you need to find out, okay, within this page, which one is taking more time. For example, menu items is taking 3.59 seconds, whereas this assigned project code is taking only 0.87. So if I want to fine tune, optimize the performance, I can optimize this one. Imagine this also gives a response time like 0.237. My overall response time will come down. So this is page wise within that page components wise analysis, right? Then you need to look at any errors. Obviously there are no errors. If you get errors, we are into trouble, right? Look at this throughput. Throughput is another major thing. Throughput means you should get so much of data from the server. On an average, this particular product is able to give 9.8 megabytes per second, right? This is megabits per second, okay? So this product, basically this server at this 4 GB RAM, it is able to give you 9.83 bits per second. At some point in time, it was even able to give 68.87 megabits per second. So that if the throughput is not high, obviously system will be slow, because throughput is the capacity to send the data. If the server is slow in sending the data, obviously it will take more time to send more data, right? Now, there is one more thing. A few people have asked the question, right? This is a ditto question, right? Do all load testing tools have the same concepts? Yes. Scripting, this is a very good question. I appreciate. Scripting, parameterization, correlation, running, configuring, ramp up, analysis, monitors. If you want to get more details, you can visit openmentor.net site. That's a performance testing concepts recorded webinar. Pretty much like the concepts of C# is same as Java, is same as C++. Concepts wise they are same. Syntax wise they are different. But concepts wise object oriented languages are same. MySQL concepts, MS SQL Server concepts, basically database programming concepts are same across databases. Same way every load testing tool will have, right? And another thing is scripting extensive? In fact, you don't have to use a lot of scripting. Okay. Quickly let me show you. For example, I want to have this in a loop. Okay. I want to write it as a loop, right? What I can do is, there is something like, you don't have to do a lot of programming. It is like a drag and drop UI. I can say loop, put that loop over here, okay? Then I can move that inside that. Did you notice it? Previously it was outside. Now I just added a loop. Now I can say execute the loop 5 times, right? So NeoLoad has the feature of using a drag and drop facility UI, you can avoid actual scripting. And I want to do something if then else, right? You can put if then else over here inside this. If there's a condition, you can give what is operand 1, operand 2. So it almost helps you like a visual UI so that you don't make mistakes, right? That's the biggest advantage. Over and above, you can have programmings also done using JavaScript. If you want to write, if you are a hardcore writing guy, yes, you can still. But if you look here at the bottom, introducing delays, loops, while loops, if then else, modifying a variable, right? Try catch block, wait, adding a particular JavaScript, right? I want to add a JavaScript for my programming. You can always add over here, right? You can cut and paste your JavaScript code over here, right? So this tool helps you to visually program. At the same time, you can add your custom code into this inside it. Okay. Now, another question that I see is, can I see response time for all pages, right? So typically, again, you need to come to the results part, right? You go to the result summary, right? If you go to the result summary, this gives for everything, and then there is a pages, right? This is what just I showed you now. For every page, right, QAM test, right, it is giving the details, right? For every page you can get that. There was another question, right? Will it support like third-party tools? As long as it is HTTP protocol, right? For example, the QA monitor tool that you are seeing here, right? This particular chart is done something in called chart director, and the grid that you see over here is called EXTJS, external JavaScript by Sencha, SENCHA. This is using and JavaScript. This is using HTML. So it is, as long as the traffic is HTTP, you can still. When it comes to HTTPS, the problem is it is encrypted. So you need to test it without that HTTPS, because HTTPS doesn't have the coding part. It's only the configuration in the web server, right? So as long as it is HTTP and web service, you can still do that, right? And another thing is, one person has asked, sometimes I don't understand the reports, the terms in the reports, okay? One good thing over here, okay, come over here, okay? For example, you say take statistic summary, total pages, hits, right, throughput, hit errors. What you need to do is, the terminologies across most of the tools is same, throughput is same, right? Users, hits, they're all same. I strongly suggest you go through the performance testing concepts recorded session in Open Mentor. That will clarify a whole lot of stuff, right? Now, do we need to test, another interesting question, do we need to test all pages in the application? Need not be, but definitely if the page is going to have concurrent users, yes. For example, in QA monitor, tasks, requirements, test plans, right? For example, you go to the test plan, right? And then if you want to add anything, right? Suppose I add a module, for example, contacts module, right? So you add a module, then I want to add a test case, right? You can add a test case. You can always add a test case, right? For example, TC01 trial test. Priority, let me set it to high version. Okay, I don't have a version over there, right? So you can write test steps. So I can write a step precondition 1, step 1, expected result ER1. I'm just giving you some dummy data, right? Now you enter data over here, correct? Once you enter the data, the most important point is you need to parameterize, right? You need to parameterize. That is also provided by these tools. So you need to understand the actual data preparation part of it and parameterizing all these things. And another question that this webinar is recorded, so that we will be uploading it pretty soon. As we uploaded the previous webinars like white box and security testing, we will be uploading it. Now, there is another question that people have asked. There's one question. Let me read this. We have seen the execution for vUser and its results. When we apply the actual users for execution with same functionality, will they be the same or they be different? As I said, load testing is, it depends upon so many parameters. For example, the network bandwidth, the CPU availability at that time. If the environment is same, yes, obviously the results may vary maximum by 5%, not more than that. Ideally it should not differ. But when you test, you are having 2 gigabytes of memory free, and in actual only 1 gigabyte of memory was free. Obviously the response time will all differ. So if the environment remains the same, results will be pretty much the same. Should be the same. Maybe 5% here and there it may be there for various things, right?